And I had the pleasure to talk to Jürgen a bit before, and I was really impressed by his continuous and sincere search for happiness, both for himself but also for others. And I'd like to give the word to you, Jürgen, to tell us a bit about your story and this interesting title, The Business Case for Peace.
Yeah, I was born in the Black Forest in Germany, in, I would say, a complicated family with a violent mother and an alcoholic father. But when I look back on my childhood, I would always consider me to be happy. We didn't have a lot of money, so I said, I am happy as a basis. If I make a lot of money, damn, I must be so happy. And so I went, became a partner, not the president of PwC, but became a partner at my consulting company. And one day, I made a lot of money. I changed my car every 2 years. I had a big house with a swimming pool. I walked in my bathroom, and the guy who was looking at me was so sad and white as the shirt that I had. And that day, I decided I wanted to have the same feeling when I was young, to look enthusiastic and with trust and with love into the next day. So that journey then took first, I needed 3 years to take me out of what I had begun into. And then I started to run happiness workshops in PwC all around the world until during the COVID time we had 2,000 participants in New York, which is maybe one of the worst places when it comes to happiness, but one of the best places when people say, I have to live my American dream and to make as much money as I can. And people also asked me often, what's the business case for happiness? And in my business, you know, the turnover of young people joining the company and then coming up the ladders is part of the business case. And no one ever thought about what it actually means that people leaving unhappy or because of conflicts and of violence in the company, because I heard not only in my company, but in all the international companies that I served, people were speaking about the competition and said, we are going to kill the competition. Other people came to see me and said to me, Jürgen, what do I need to do for my next promotion? I will walk over dead bodies. And I asked the people, you know, are you aware what you are saying there? Would you walk over dead bodies? But that's how I felt a lot of the business actually is going. So, and then when I calculated the business case for my company or for other companies, we very quickly attached numbers. So if you have a company where you have 1,000 people working and you lose every year 30% of that because unhappiness, because work over, because of depression, because of conflicts, and then you multiply that out, that this age of these people are costing 50,000 Swiss francs in Switzerland for a consulting company, you very quickly to come to important numbers. But the number for the business case for peace on the world is so much bigger. Because today we have globally 3.3 billion of people in work. 3.3 billion in work. Of which in Europe and the United States we have 370 million in work. If we calculate that only 5% of them change because of the conflictual, unhealthy environment in business, and we multiply this with a very small number of 5,000 Swiss francs, we actually talk about 900 billion, which walk away from our numbers as global economies. 900 billion, which is roughly the GDP of Switzerland in 2024. That is what is out there as gains, where we all in this material world wanting and thinking actually money makes us happy. And to stop my story of my personal, I was running a long time about happiness and happiness as work, and still my heart is beating for that. But it was only in the last 2 years that I actually found the peace in me, that I don't need to criticize other people, other leaders or whatever, that I sit here and I am sure what I want to bring in the world: more togetherness, more joy, more doing the right things, so that every one of us can live a peaceful life and bring the expression what the universe asks us to do here together forward.
Thank you so much, Jürgen, and we'll certainly take this thought of joy and this feeling also of your journey with us. We now have also Claude here, and Claude told me before that he has made a profound shift from having a very technical approach to sustainability, then really going more into personal development and leadership. While he won't be able now to tell all of his story, because he also has a lot to tell, he will share with us at least some of his insights and maybe some of the questions that he currently holds.
Thank you very much, Anaïs. Yeah, you know, what you said, Jürgen, really echoes with me and what I witness when I work with organizations. But let me start on a different point, a personal point. I would say my 15-year-old self, still traveling with me, is really puzzled to find me on a panel that talks about transforming humanity and peace. Because when I was 15 years old, I was really not happy with humanity. I located the root cause for many of the problems that I witnessed in the world with humans. So I had a very, I would say, dysfunctional relationship to human beings. I was angry. I had a lot of hatred in myself. And that was one reason why I was seeking kind of resolution and, let's say, my inner peace and purpose more in a technological scientific field. And today, I actually would like to share with you the hypothesis, and I'm really deeply convinced by that, that love in the workplace, in a way, love in relationships, and I'm really talking about, you know, caring for others, togetherness, and peace is the key driver of, I would also say, a sustainable and healthy business that needs to survive and transform and continually develop and learn in the VUCA world that is all present, as Kevalia also was outlining. So I'm feeling really puzzled and I'm feeling privileged. On my journey, you know, I was trying to bring in economics and environmental management the measurability of the footprint. I developed software for that, and we were spreading methodologies. I could do this in Switzerland, in Japan, in South America. And the methodologies would make the footprint of organizations tangible. And I thought what you can measure, you can improve, right? The consultants would tell that story, I guess. But I found not so much, you know? You build the awareness, you see the connectedness, the metabolism of organizations with the world, but not so many businesses would actually turn towards this. So knowledge was not really the solution. Then I was starting to actually teach and work more on a strategy advisory role, and in many MBA programs about the business case of sustainability. So we need to link the metabolism to really what you can gain, you know, what is in terms of margin, profitability, customer loyalty, and whatever. And I think there were very strong business cases that would advocate to change a certain product, to change a certain industry. But still, I found so many people taking notice of the business case, understanding the problem, but not taking action. And when I think it was an epiphany moment for me in an MBA program in St. Gallen, where I invited my students to line up to say, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of your actually, how much of your values in the workplace can you live when it comes to sustainability? So what is your ambition and aspiration level in sustainability? How much do you care? And how much of that can you live in your corporate context? And it was, it was very sad. They stepped all back, you know, and they found a discrepancy between their values and what is possible in the corporate context. So I was a little bit desperate. So what can we do to advance sustainability more? And I found out for me, and I would offer this for discussion as well, that I think the key is less in the macro world of these huge problems, but more in the inner world when we seek more integrity. And when we seek more integrity with ourselves, peace within, we will also stand up for that peace, stand in for that peace, and change the organizations and the communities around. And this is why I'm working on authentic development with organizations and individuals. And this is my hypothesis that I want to bring and offer to you in the discussion today.
Thank you so much, Claude. Now, when we prepared for this discussion, we thought, well, it's good if you also have the opportunity to ask questions and to engage with our speakers. So let us just take and pause a moment and think about of what we heard from two individuals who have been very much engaging with the business world as it is, and who have both, you know, tried in different ways to transform some of it, and at the same time gone into a very deep process of personal transformation. So we're happy to take maybe 3 questions at a time and then bring it to our speakers. There are people in the room with the microphone, so if you'd like to, you can just raise your hand and you can ask a question. So I see there at the back, I see 2 questions and I see another one there. So maybe let's hear the first 3 questions.
Thank you. Thank you for this nice words, for this good experience from each other. I'm Hafid Wardiri from the Interknowing Foundation in Geneva. I'm happy to hear what you are speaking about, but how to let the people or to the society to return to an education on what is the soul, not only what is the brain, not only what is the body, but what is the soul. We are living in a society where the soul have nothing to do. So is it possible, from your own experiences, to see how together we can promote a pedagogy for the young generations, how to develop their soul, because our society lost their soul. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Let's also take the other 2 questions.
My name is Carlos Ruiz. I am an entrepreneur and innovator. And what I experienced in my startup is that as soon as there is the first crisis, is where you see people really the values they have. And those are so different as what we sell, all of us in Instagram or in the world before coming together to work. And after a transformation I had in an organization for different years, knowing my values, who have been guiding me, has been the big transformation I had in my life towards a mission and my passion. So the question to you that you have experienced so much in companies and organizations is, how is that definition of integrity within yourself, how is that definition, or how do you measure or teach the values to people, or make sure that the values that everyone is bringing is leading to where the organization wants to go? Because if people don't know the definition of a value or are confused, how can we get into something all together?
Thank you. And the third question?
Hi, my name's Will Mellors-Blair. I've been we're partnering with the UK government to essentially co-create the world's first workplace wellbeing management platform that's driven by artificial intelligence. My question particularly is for Jürgen. I'm keen to hear your thoughts on this. Assuming you have, let's say, 1,000 of the world's most influential senior leaders in a room, how would you go about delivering the kind of use case of change and transformation? My team and I are finding that it's an interesting problem set. It's one that costs more than $10 trillion a year, and we're tackling it head on. So I'm keen to hear directly from Jürgen and also the other panelists to understand what you'd do to drive change in companies of the most influential sizes.
So we have three interesting questions, one on pedagogy and pedagogy of soul, of kind of reinvigorating the soul. Another one to really look at values and integrity of values and how to bring that into companies. And then the one on really, if you were invited to speak to large companies, large corporates, and bring their kind of also the business case for transformation. So who of you would like to go first and respond to that? There was one which was specifically addressed to you, Jürgen.
And I don't want to answer that question first, but my heart is actually beating very strongly right now when we talk about the soul. Because I actually do think that the Industrial Revolution and the following revolutions which has been there put a lot of stones on our souls. And to really feel yourself, not think about peace, not think about love, but to feel this love. This is where you get the connection back to your soul. And you might walk in the street and someone is coming towards you and sending out his helping hand. Your reaction is, oh, I need to help. The natural reaction is, I need to help. That's coming from the soul. But then your analytical brain is kicking in and you say, oh, this guy or this lady just want to cheat on me. Makes his life easy. So the point is, and I'm still walking on this path to listen to my soul. The soul doesn't ask any questions. The soul knows. So whenever you try to answer a question analytically first, then your soul didn't have a word into that. So if you want to have peace, and if you want to have joy, if you want to have love, be that love first and don't think about it. Try to feel into your body. And this is also what I would do with the 1,000 most influential leaders. I would take them on the journey, because I spoke a lot, maybe not to the 1,000 most influentials, but I talked a lot to CEOs and CFOs, and they were all very interested in my personal journey, how I found more happiness, more joy, more fulfillment in my life. And they were very interested when we talked in closed doors. But when the door were open, actually you could see and feel the fear that they are having, because they think their most important task is to defend the numbers the companies are making. And the most important task is to create environments where humans can work openly and collectively together, where everyone can be the person that you want to be, that you want to bring to world. So I would take them, I would speak to their analytical mind about the business cases that I was mentioning for the companies, but I would take them also that they can lose their fear, that because they maybe experience the most of the fear. You know, if you are defending 200 million turnover, and then someone comes and says, you need to change your business, they are fearful. So I would take them on that journey, that also they can let their fear go and finding their real being back, beside talking about the numbers.
Thank you. Claude, what would you like to add to this? And with that, we will already close this session.
Yes, I think I would like to really also connect to the soul in a way. I find it interesting that people, when they really work on their integrity, it is more something they sense rather than they just analyze. It's something that, I love your picture. I have actually the same motto for me in my life. When I look into the mirror and I can, connect to what I see, it gives me a good feeling. It is not rational in a way of I run some statistics or arguments or targets or whatever. It resonates because I see, hopefully, my soul is what I also live in a way, what I can observe. And it might sound a little bit strange, but it also addresses the question of values and how we bring those values alive. I found it interesting that in the recent programs, one is Swiss Institute of Technology and ETH Zurich, the University of St. Gallen have a new MBA. It's really a top-level MBA. And usually in these programs, you have the people arrive and they would show off with their business cards, right? Who they already are, and the function defines their status. In that program, it runs differently. You first will see your coach, and you will run a personal profiling of your teams. You go really deep for a few hours, and you explain how you had become who you are, what gives you energy, what deprives you of energy. And on the first day of the program, the spotlight in a small group of 4 people is on you as a person, as a human. And I can tell you, it makes such a whole difference that after the first week, they connect as humans. They study and work together as humans. Then they also talk about values and integrity and less about the numbers. And I think this is just bringing a sense of a little bit of spirituality in a way, also in this educational and business contexts, because it is something that is very much in your, yes, it's not in your brain, right? It's something you sense and you transcend into a community.
Thank you both so much for your time here. So over to you, Judith.